Welcome to the Crazy Wisdom Podcast. I've got Ekaterina Matveeva here, and she's the founder of Amolingua and Lingo Plus, and she's also a co-organizer of roundtables around AI with EcoCivilization. I was fortunate enough to talk at that a couple weeks ago, and it was really fun. Had some epiphanies of my own, and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Stewart. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening.
So, what are your current thoughts on AI at the moment?
Oh, wow. We're just starting straight to the point without beating around the bush. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here and actually have this conversation with you. And guys, we are living in unprecedented times. I mean, we all know. And I would say that indeed, this year in particular, I've been learning so much about AI also through those roundtables by the AI Challenged series. And I've been figuring out it for myself what it means to be a user of AI, to be a designer of an AI model, to collaborate with AI, to be an AI creator, whatever you call it. And I realized that through the past 3 years that I've been working with AI in different capacities, including designing AI models. I've been constantly changing my approach and also the perception of AI. Why so? Because when we were starting, let's say in 2023, in my case, I know a lot of people have been working on AI for the past couple of decades, but for me, it started in 2023. I was a little bit mad about AI.
Mm.
Why? Because when the first models started showing up, obviously, certain panic started spreading, yeah, around the market. I would say probably in Q3, Q4 2023. And it kind of touched me as well as an entrepreneur because I'm in education and I'm also, this language business and like, apart from teaching languages and cultures, we're also doing or we're doing, let's say, translation and localization. And I was mad because suddenly a wave came, like a tsunami, where businesses started cutting costs and switching to AI, the very first kind of capable-ish models. But then I realized that instead of being angry at so many people out there, I could find a way to collaborate with those, say, AI designers or AI models, and also see how I could make an impact. Because apart from anger, there was also a part of, let's say, anxiety and fear. And that's what we are seeing right now. So many people, depending on country, depending on location, are also afraid of AI, afraid of this advancement. And they're trying to find a way how to control it. And from my perspective, coming from a multilingual, multicultural family environment, and let's say perception of the world, it was and it is still a big question. How can we create AI that would adapt to different cultures and languages, right? Through, let's say, sociocultural lens. And back then, I started asking these questions. All right, what is going to happen? Are we going to let a monopoly in AI? That a big company from a particular country would come and start impose its values of that country and culture on all other cultures? Are we going to leave again some sort of colonization through AI? What's going to happen? Or we're going to observe this anti-utopian war of AI models from different countries and different cultures. And by joining then AI development, starting collaborating with our AI model creators and designing AI, first from perspective of educator, being an educator and then inserting knowledge, and then as a cross-cultural communicator and researcher, I realized that if more and more people from different cultures and different, let's say, social ranks and social groups going to join AI training, the more versatile, the more multifaceted AI models we're going to get. So obviously, we're coming to the point of inclusion. Um, so at this very stage, we go through this 2023 of anger and fear, and then 2024, let's say, experimenting, being very, let's say, cautious, but then getting wrapped by this AI world coming to 2025 and realizing, oh, damn, I actually have a place in that. I have a say in design and development of certain models that then influence millions, hundreds of millions, and then, well, billion people. And at this very stage, I would say, I think AI is hyped. What people think of AI is probably mistaken, because if you ask what AI is, some would say that it's intelligence, right? Artificial intelligence. But what intelligence is, whether it's a model that's trained on specific corpus, repeating just certain phrases and words and then trying to predict what's going to be said after and so on, whether it's like a zombie saying particular words but not feeling anything. But at the same time, I think AI as a tool, and that's very important, as a tool, not as a companion, can be very useful. So I would stay here that there something as utility, it could be eventually positive, but it can't be a companion, it can't be a substitute, and we are still, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, we're still far away from the moment when AI is going to take over as everyone is terrified. Yeah.
Yeah, that's we can go into a lot of places from there. Argentina, in particular, Argentina just released a new bill that is trying to do what the LLC did for Wyoming and then Delaware, which is basically create a limited liability corporation. So Wyoming and Delaware back in the 80s and the 90s created the civilizational infrastructure for the Anglo-American capital machine to basically have limited liability for corporations. As a capitalist, I'm happy that that happened. It's really important for actually like creating businesses. We can go into a lot of other things related to that, but that's all relevant for Argentina because Argentina is trying to do the same thing, but with an AI twist. And I don't know enough about it to speak very cogently about it, but they are essentially creating a human out of the loop situation where the AI is basically just not liable. So the AI can make decisions and the liability is limited. Now, I'm not sure on that. That's the gist of it. As with all bills and regulation, it's all really hard to pin down because they put like 5,000 pages in there. In my country, I'm not sure about Argentina. I haven't read it. I've just been kind of thinking about it. So if anybody's listening to this and wants to fact check me, please go ahead and send me a DM on what's really going on. I'm definitely going to research it. But basically, if I'm right, it means human out of the loop. They just like capital structure with AI behind it, basically going and having limited liability, human outside the loop, which like that's and there's some other relevant things going on here too. Is the United States is also investing as of 6 months ago. There's been a lot of changes in 6 months. So I'm not sure how far it is, but they are re-architecting the energy department so that the energy department also does human outside the loop science, not human inside the loop, human outside the loop science. And based on what you just said, I agree. I don't think we're close to that. Like, I don't think we're even like close to like. I mean, maybe they have models behind Anthropic. Maybe Mythos is just this giant thing that can make decisions on its own that doesn't need a human in the loop. But everything I've interacted with so far is just like this is a really useful tool that basically helps us deal with language, helps us deal with coding, helps us deal with math. Is more limited in its applications to science and is just crazy hyped and all these other things. There's the world models, but the world models too. All a world model is, I guess, all. My understanding of what a world model is that it predicts physical space. So it has physics, an engine where the robot can predict where the movement is and everything like that. But it doesn't feel like that is a human out of the. It still feels like you need a prime mover to move the AI, and that will be human, and that'll be human for a very long time. What do you think? Am I right? Am I wrong? What's going on here?
This is like so interesting because, also with this roundtables, and I'm traveling around the world, different conferences. I see there's kind of like cross country development
Mm.
in the AI
Mm.
sector. And what you just mentioned, this is completely new to me. That's why I'm like so, much. I was like, wow, this is like completely opposite to Europe. Because
Yeah.
I just been to South Summit, and Spain just released human in the loop obligatory documents.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Okay. That's very cool.
So it's like it's completely opposite.
Yeah.
And I'm so curious now to read both
Yeah.
because, again, if we compare them, it's a completely different approaches, right? And then, of course, the Pope and the announcement of the Pope and
Yeah.
this document, yeah, about the impact of AI and that we should use AI only for good. I mean, like, this is an important document, and apparently this document contains much more, let's say, advice and like overall recommendations on AI governance that any government has come up in the past years, which is fascinating. But I think it depends on the approach. It depends on the worldview. We know with you that the US has no brakes when we talk about AI. Then we have China that uses all the AI advances for the good of the government. Um, and there's also huge advancement occurring like right now. And then obviously we have less America that's also yet developing other models. Kind of like taking an example from the US, and we can see that even like with Argentina right now, like a
Mm.
big influence. And we have other Asian countries and Africa, because Africa is also advancing. And then we have Europe, and Europe is like, no, pushing all the
Slow
brakes.
it down.
And this is like, you see, like, the question is, it's not about what is good or bad. The question is what eventually we want as human beings, as humanity, what we want, why we need it, what for. So when we talk about human in the loop or out of the loop, what for? Are we
Mm.
talking about more efficiency, more profit, saving more time? What for?
Mm.
If it's human in the loop, obviously it's about control. And I
Mm.
think for certain sectors, we
Mm.
definitely need to keep human in the loop because, I mean, we don't know what's going on there. And we all know, especially now with agentic AI, how it can make mistakes. It can mix folders. It can mix files. And what if there is like an energy block and it just mixes up like on off or like different exits? What's going to happen? Maybe the entire grid is going off. So I think for certain, let's say, infrastructure, we'll still need to have human in the loop. Or let's say, if it's human out of the loop, we'll just need to
Mm.
have manual control, like on airplane. Like
Mm.
airplane, when it flies for majority of time, it's flying on autopilot, right? But
Yeah.
pilots are there for manual if there are unpredictable conditions. We need pilots because there's this human skill that actually saves life. So here the same.
Yeah, it's really interesting because it's not like a new thing. LLM is just like one tool, very very important, powerful tool that changes a lot of things about the way we relate and the way we do things and everything like that. But it's like modernity or post modernity or whatever was going on right now. We have so many tools, and in Europe, I've done a lot of interviews with people from Zurich who are doing robotics at ETH.
Mhm.
Uh, and in Germany, I've got a good aware or not a good awareness, but I'm basically tracking a lot of industrial automation, and these guys already have it all figured out for how to not basically kill people on the job and do all these things. And Europe is more strict, China is less strict, US is sort of like an in between those two things. Uh, and basically, it's like safety. I think about it so much now that I'm doing the robotics courses, because we haven't gotten. I was having a conversation with my friend on Sunday who's already deep into this stuff. He's kind of like guiding me on where to take it next. And he was just like, well, I don't teach people because you can blow yourself up, or you blow up the circuits, you break the circuits and everything like that. And we haven't even gotten close to those things yet. Let me, I can't show you right now, but no, here it is. So, and that's what this is for, is to basically take the wires and go through each one, and then you have power, and you can fry this thing, you can fry other things, and so it's just thinking about safety. It's like humans, we already have a lot of good processes for safety and all these different things, and now we've got this other thing which is probabilistic, stochastic, non-deterministic, that creates variation in whatever it does, and that should probably have nothing to do, like nowhere near safety. But then you look at what the Pentagon is doing with Anthropic. They were into Palantir systems for 1 year before the whole brouhaha happened with Venezuela. They were already in those systems beforehand, so it's already happening, of like sort of probabilistic intelligence supporting humans. I don't like, and this, it's all classified, so I don't know, but like they're supporting humans, right? So there's some sort of mixture of human in the loop, but the hype keeps on going back to like get the human out of the loop. I really like what you said about sectors. Like, what sector is good for human in the loop, and what sectors are bad? And it feels like there's got to be some cataloging and understanding. I'm sure a lot of people are working on that. Anything about what I just said of interest to you? Any thoughts you want to share?
Of course. Let's talk about your favorite subject,
Mm-hmm.
robotics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I've been an observer of robotics due to
Mm-hmm.
my personal life, like for quite some time. And they're back in time when guys were building Valkyrie for the Mars expedition. Valkyrie robot is still at NASA. You can also find one in Edinburgh. Actually, there is a very good robotics center. You definitely should talk to some people there.
Mm-hmm.
Back in then, when we talk about what 12 years ago, like
Mm-hmm.
10 years ago, it would take so much manpower to code just
Yeah.
the balance of a robot, right? Or like how to walk, how to move, arms. But now it's all happening very quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when we look with you at the automation that's happening in Japan and again in China, as well a few other countries where the automotive system, like automotive industry, is well developed, um, we can see that machines are working just under supervision of people. So they are just a few humans,
Mm-hmm.
but then machines are doing all the heavy lifting. Of course, we talk about safety in the US, the famous OSHA. Um, I think safety regulations will be changing, they will be adjusting. And as you said, yeah, about sectors, we will just have to determine where it's safe enough, where it's not. And again, there always should be the power button or like manual,
Yeah.
because you never know if there is like some sort of like solar flare and suddenly all the power is out. What are we going to do? So we need to know how to move it all if there is no electricity, for instance. Um, Also, another good example talking about here robots and space. Um, Years ago, maybe 20 years ago, there was a science fiction movie about Mars. I think it was called The Red Planet, and there was some sort of prototype of Valkyrie. And this robot, because of the impact when they landed, got kind of mad. So instead of a good robot, it turned into a hunter.
Yeah.
And it's like AI based robot. So obviously it's not, let's put it this way, it wasn't like the robot, it was AI that got bad while
Yeah.
robot was still fully
Yeah.
functioning.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting.
So we need to know how we can reset the system. We need to know what we can do in order to protect ourselves, because we, in this case, become invulnerable. Because we have with you a metal kind of hip instead
Yeah.
of bones there sitting, and then probably stronger and faster than us, because you see like the advancement of robotics is just crazy. It's mind-blowing for me. So they are faster, they are stronger, and if something goes off in the system, meaning in the software, not the hardware, but the software, then it impacts the hardware and then it impacts us. So, what can we do with the software so that the hardware is serving us? That's the point.
Let's get into brain computer interface, because that's very I was doing some research yesterday, and it's kind of like, going back to the fear kind of thing. It's like, oof, it's close. Neuralink is inside people's heads, and they're going on videos and talking about it. Elon Musk on May 18th, if my sources are correct, was in Tel Aviv at a robotics Tesla conference, and Israel is very, very wrapped up in cybersecurity, computer vision, all those different things. So there's a deep connection there. And of course, Elon Musk says we're getting Jesus-like power from brain-computer interfaces. And I've been in some debates on Twitter past couple of days, not even debates, just asking questions. And, it's like, it feels like we've done this before as a species, not in the same conditions, but there are ways of accessing power that are old. And I don't mean here power in terms of technology, but just like power, we can talk about what power is, but there are, like, we know that we can gain superpowers in some various things. You can call it intellectual, you can call it miracles, you can call it all these different things. And now technology is going to create those things. But there's this hype thing, and huge hype for Neuralink because it's such an important barrier. The skull, the like the body, we eat things. We've had millions of years of evolution to know what's good or bad for putting inside of our body. All of that is going to be challenged over the next 20 years. And so, like, I'm definitely not getting close to that thing until I own the software. That's the point that I wanted to go into, is like owning the software, and like, what does it mean to own software? We're recording this interview on a software that I built, and I'm really excited about it, but it's also been a nightmare because I happen to chose the hardest problem of video and audio. Like, there's just, like, video and audio are an insane problem. We don't have to get into that, but like, building software, so important. Regulating it. What are your thoughts there?
Let's go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Like, again, all this Neuralink stuff. What for?
Yeah.
Why?
What for? Yeah.
What are we trying to achieve? What's our core motivation there? Because we are smart. They're like smart and intelligent. They're like smart people. Like, overall, humans are smart. Otherwise, we would have survived. And they're also, yeah, intelligent people who are building stuff, like you, I, all the listeners, who are now tuning in. So we are all intelligent because we are, let's say, building something, or we are analyzing something, and then we are reasoning and coming to certain, let's say, conclusions, and then making choices, etc., etc. When we talk about enhancing our capability, again, what for? Remember, there was this movie, Limitless, like, you take, yeah, that. I remember, because like, it's quite an old movie. I remember when I watched it for the first time, I was so excited. I was like, yeah, if this is going to be created, I'm going to take it. Because let's say I was brought up in this, like, with this idea that brain power is the most important power, because if you are smart, if you're intelligent, you can take over the world in a way, So brain for me for a long time was most important. So I would be looking at people and being, let's say, attracted to people, like becoming friends with them, getting into a relationship with men, if the person is intelligent. Yeah. That was like this. And it's like, it's interesting perspective, because if you have a look at a lot of people right now think like there's, especially, let's say, in science and entrepreneurship. So what changed and why I'm going from there. Because then with time, also spending some time in Latin America, spending some time in Asia, and we're
Mm,
not talking about this like, oh, I'm figuring out myself. No, going, working, and
mm,
then being on my own, let's say, personal quest. I met with all these different practitioners, shamans, healers, and all. And I realized through different experiments, because I'm a scientist, right, per se, so I need to understand, I need to know, and I wouldn't sign up under something that I don't know or I haven't experienced. And I wouldn't experience a lot of things because also I have like safety first. So I realized back like, I know, 7 years ago, that we have so much more, like our body, like us as human beings. It's not just brain. We have like our nervous system, like different types of nervous system, all the bones, all the senses, and emotions, and all this like psychosomatics, meaning how emotions are connected to the body, and so much, much more. Hey, and we even don't know still whether the
mhm,
brain, let's say, generating thoughts or it's receiving thoughts, right? Like every year there is a new discovery how multidimensional brain is and how tough it is like to crack it up. Yeah, of course, there's been this announcement that finally we've mapped out the entire brain.
mm,
I have
yeah,
so many doubts about it,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
No.
yeah.
So going back to Neuralink, then what are we enhancing? We're enhancing only potentially cognitive
Mm,
abilities, but we are so much more.
yeah, yeah,
And I don't want to turn into a robot. I don't want to turn into
exactly.
a cyborg.
That's what the yeah. Go for it. Mhm.
Yeah, go, go, go.
So the argument I got into with someone was it wasn't an argument. It was a I just asked a question and there was no response. Are you a robot? Like why? Because all I've seen so far from Neuralink is that they get faster at video games. Like that seems to be. I guess I mean levitation. Maybe we'll get. Actually, that's an interesting. I haven't thought about that levitation. So we might get into levitation. But that still doesn't get to the point of just like so the people who are going to get Neuralink are going to be good at two things: war and video games. War and video games, right? And I am not really interested in getting involved with the war or the defense. There's a lot of good money in it. A lot of people are going to get really wrapped up into it. But I think education, small businesses, manufacturing, those things are where I want to kind of spend most of my time. So if you're going to war, war is what it is. You're going to get more enhanced abilities. And if you like video games, you're going to get more enhanced abilities. But why not just get a robot to do it? Why not like why this need to get to try to compete with these robots that are coming and that if we own the software we will be in control of if my understanding of software is correct. Like why are we trying to compete with robots? What's going on there? Do you think that we're
Yeah,
doing that, or do you think that certain parts of the world that are doing it, who also happen to be building it, think that?
yeah. I feel that it's kind of ego speaking, and that we are supreme species.
Yeah, yeah,
And look, remember the movies Avatar? Like they use in there so many enhanced
yeah,
technologies,
yeah,
and they're pretty much coming up, right? Like literally, like the prophecy, what's coming up,
yeah.
exoskeletons and all. So I think it's about feeling this power. Oh damn, I can do it. But it's
Interesting.
like a superhero costume.
Yeah,
If I take it away from you, what's going to be left,
yeah,
right?
interesting. Yeah,
So
that's a good point. Go for it. Yeah.
yeah, so eventually, when we look at it, just like recently, like, I watched a movie. Like somehow I didn't hear about it last year. It's from last year. It's I think it's called Mountain Hat. It's about billionaires who
Hmm.
are gathering um, um, in a mansion of another billionaire while the world is going to hell because of AI and deepfake videos. And in one of them, yeah, I mean it's a good satire
Yeah.
movie. um, Steve Carell is there, like a great, great, a great part there. So If we look at people who are obsessed with control, with power, and also longevity, I'm not saying all of them, but
Yeah.
certain, let's say,
Yeah.
certain group of people, they're all trying to codify us, digitize us,
Mm,
turn us into software or, let's say, pure data that can be transferred to a certain device, like to live forever, to have immense power, to become limitless eventually.
mm,
But again, limitless where in cognitive field, as you were saying, war gaming, what is it for? Because if we think about, as you're saying, like education, medicine, like everyday life, like social kind of social projects, right? Community, this all requires, all of these things require human touch,
mm,
um, emotional intelligence,
mm,
cultural intelligence, um, body intelligence. So different, let's say, different types of intelligences, because there's, theory about like multiple intelligences, not only like IQ, right?
mm,
But all these intelligences are not enhanced by Neuralink or any similar project. Those are skills that we need to learn by doing, by practicing, especially while interacting with other human beings or also other species. We're talking about animals, we're talking about plants, go hug a tree. So all of this is kind of, it is a process, right? But then, of course, we can think about metrics and how um, different skills were uploaded directly to the brain, and then wake up. Now you also know Kung Fu, how it
mm.
was, right?
Yeah.
um, Maybe, but it's also complicated. Look, it involves muscle memory. So, how can you perform certain actions if your muscles are not trained for this?
Hmm. Yeah, interesting. I really like this point of uh, well, what would happen if it turned off? I think it's such a good question to ask. I asked it. I went pretty far in 2020 about well, what happens if the whole thing turns off? What happens if civilization itself turns off? And it was in March 2020 when there was a huge amount of propaganda going on that was spreading from really weird parts of the world. And I took that propaganda to heart, thought that this is it. Okay, let's go. And I moved into the mountains in California, and I lived in a van. It was really funny because me and my friend went with me, and we knew nothing about it. We knew nothing about anything about living in the country, and so we ended up buying a bunch of stuff on Amazon that like somebody who knew nothing about it would buy. None of it worked. He came back to civilization. I ended up moving up there and getting into a property and having to learn a lot of things about property and making vegetables. And I ended up liking having a herd of animals more than growing vegetables. So I had my goats and emu and a sheep. And just basically tried to learn about what it means to live in the countryside and learned it's very isolating. It's very beautiful, but very isolating. Uh, and so this question of like, well, what happens if it goes away is a really interesting one. It gets more and more important the further we go down these tracks of like, okay, well, this guy got BCI. What turns off the BCI? What would happen if that person lost it? Well, the paraplegics go back to being paraplegic, right? So that it makes sense for them. I think it makes sense to do this stuff for them. But then, like, where's the line after that? Like, what is the line between somebody with disability versus a healthy human? And then what happens if we turn it off? I don't know. I think that's a really important question. I don't think a lot of people are asking so many questions that so many people are not asking, and we're just going straight into this thing, and it feels really, really dumb. The whole thing feels really dumb. What do you think?
Well, I think it's really good that some of this technology is already being tested with people with
Yeah,
disabilities. I think it is a good thing, and
yeah.
it's amazing that some people um, get back their vision, their hearing, movement, and
Hmm.
so on. I think it's so important. At the same time, again, I don't know the exact, let's say, details about such operations, and again, who owns the software, right?
Hmm.
Who has which button, how it
Hmm.
works. Um, and there what are, let's say, long-term consequences, if any, you know. So do you need an update once a year, something like
Yeah,
this?
interesting.
But then, of course, talking about cyborgs, definitely it's like Blade Runner,
Yeah,
and it gets really murky and
yeah.
tricky because there is a lot of talk about the division of society. That if right now, as we talked with you about the power and let's say money, so there is financial division, that it's quite visible in different countries, like between people, yeah, with a lot of money and no money, almost no
Mhm.
money. But then with technology, that again costs money, there will be even a bigger gap. And those who have an opportunity to, let's say, upgrade themselves, like enhance
Mhm.
their bodies, will be going forward, will be advancing, while the common folk will stay where they are. And
Mhm.
perhaps, you know, it's also, it could be intelligent people who are living in their communities, continuing their traditions, having no say in what's going on in the technological world. But then they will be left behind, right? There will be this
Mhm.
immense
Yeah,
gap.
yep.
And what happens when we have this immense gap? I don't know. Like the question is more like um, sociocultural question in a way. What people with so much advantage are going to do with other groups of people who don't have this advantage, right?
Yeah,
And I don't want to
interesting.
call them disadvantaged. I actually want to call them as, let's say, just, you know, standard population in a way, right? That we are like part
Hmm.
of standard population. But then there will be, of course, early adopters who are going into all this kind of enhanced technologies. Like also, like comes to my mind, there was a really cool British TV series called Years and Years, and they demonstrated how in the near future, youngsters would try to go cyborg by just, you know, just by being seduced, let's say, by this corporations who would say, oh, we're going to give you like new prosthetics, like new eyes, so we'll take out your own biological eyes and put like new eyes that have enhanced capability, like da da da. And how girls would go and actually have these operations and then go completely blind because something would go wrong in the software
Yeah, yeah,
sometimes.
interesting.
And you think like, what for? So I do hope that it will be somehow regulated. And I think the way we are, especially if you're healthy, let's put it this way, if you're healthy, if you don't have any disability, if you don't need to, let's say, fix anything urgently, you're already perfect. Like your
Yeah,
body's perfect.
yeah.
I mean, why to change anything? Like if you want to, let's say, to get some more muscles, okay, go to gym, like go and do some sports, like go to a nutritionist and figure it out, like with your, let's say, daily habits. Why to go and put some sort of like software metal in your body while you even don't know what, well, consequences it's going to bring to you in a few years?
Yeah, and that's part of the safety. They put a target on 2030 is the time where it will be consumerly available for Neuralink, based off of 3 years. That's not even like long-term studies for biological interventions need 50 to 80
Yeah.
years to get replicable. So it's like Ritalin. We know Ritalin kind of does what it does, and it's safe because it's been. I mean, it's safe at a certain level. I think there's still other questions about Ritalin in general, but that haven't been answered or because it can't be answered. But generally, like at the biological level, Ritalin won't affect you in the same way that um, mm, some like thoradamine, the whatever was given to pregnant ladies in the 1950s that
Oh,
was
yeah.
just
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
bad. Yeah, like it's not going to do that. So, but and then we got 4 years, 4 years until it's consumerly available, and now the regulation in the United States is sort of like yeah, anti-regulation, but like it's hard to pierce apart what's happening in the United States right now with the regulation stuff. But if you have anything you want to share, but basically just like the intervention thing, we should take this slowly, and nobody wants to take it slowly because it's just happening so quickly as well. But yeah, what do you think?
Again, why is it happening so quickly? Why in some parts of the world it's happening so quickly?
Yeah,
Why in certain parts of the world it's slowing down?
yeah, yeah,
That's the question. Like, who wants this? Like, what's the benefit of it?
yeah,
Like, what is the benefit of it? Let's say to you and your community.
yeah.
Okay.
Interesting. And I think about it so much because it feels like it's just such uh, it's a conversation that is not being taken seriously at the level of framing in my country, in my home of Silicon Valley. It's just like the two options that I'm aware of that are very popular in that are like destroy it all or let it run wild. And it's funny because they don't say that. They say we're going to do this safely, but then all of their actions then move towards this thing that they're saying they're being safe against. So it's like both of those don't really make sense. And because those are the people building it, it's like they're the ones who are sort of defining a lot of the values and everything, and the framing. It's the framing of the conversation is happening there, and it's just such a bad framing. And I don't know what to do about it. What do you think?
I mean, we get into the point of who is framing it,
Yeah,
who is feeding the data, who is training
yeah,
AI,
yeah,
like all of this. It's pretty much, bringing us back to the start of the conversation. Why actually one of the reasons why I got involved into the whole AI design, because yeah, I wanted to make sure that I could bring my own, let's say, my own knowledge, my own worldview together with the organizations that I represent in order to make, let's say, positive impact.
yeah,
Yeah. And I know a few people who've been also, yeah, doing this for the same reason, which is great because if we think with you about it, we have with you a few dominant kind of world models in a way.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And they're designed by people with certain worldviews, certain morals, certain values, certain hierarchies, certain priorities. And I would say this is not doing us any good because, again, when we, let's say, start communicating with these models and we try and, let's say, to make a certain choice, maybe in Korea, like teenagers are using it a lot to make decisions in their studies. I'm not talking even about learning. I'm talking about, let's say, choosing their educational path, their career path, and all this. So the models are going to give them answers based on
Hmm.
those worldviews and
Yeah,
values
yeah, interesting.
from those, yeah,
Yeah,
which is terrifying.
yeah,
Um, Only now, again, we've got the Pope who's saying, okay, let's collaborate, like Anthropic and Vatican are starting their collaboration, which is peculiar. I think it's better than before, we're kind of like turning to
yeah,
certain like moral road.
yeah,
Interesting.
yeah,
But again, this is only one kind of part, right? Only
yeah,
one
yeah, yeah.
in that.
So many possible paths. There's so many possible paths, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the question is, okay, can we at certain point come to our own personal AI models where
Yeah.
each user, each designer, each entrepreneur is going to have their box? Because obviously, I'm sure that all of the servers that we need right now will become smaller, smaller, and smaller, smaller as usual, right?
Mm.
So we're all going, let's say, have our own personal box, our server, where we're going to train our own AI, personal, based on everything, let's say, we know, or our worldview, morale, etc., that is going to collaborate only with us and maybe with our family, or like, with the close
Cool.
ones.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love it. I'm so excited to because I've now taken some steps to do this. One of which is this app, but I have three apps that are all focused on this. One of which is a chatbot, and all a chatbot is a harness around the model. And I've been so pleasantly surprised by how much I give away by using Claude that is now coming under my control, and my ability to take all these decisions that are hard to make because you have to think about all the decisions. There's a lot of decisions about what a model does. But after getting totally screwed over by Opus 4.5 and realizing how deep the dependency went, just like there's no way that that's gonna be in someone else's hands. Like it's just I can't make the mistakes that I made in 2006 when I got onto Facebook, and then 3 months ago got an ultimatum from them to give them my biometrics, which I did not do, and I'm not going to do that ever again. Although they already have it, and they've already probably done all the stuff they're legally not allowed to do. And I actually made a complaint to the California body. There's a California body that allowed me to make the complaint about what they did. But of course, doesn't mean anything. So I'm never making that mistake again. And I don't think anyone else should make that mistake. I think a lot of people will make that mistake, and I'm not sure what to do about that. Yeah, what do you think?
Look, I think in terms of data, yeah, again, it's a gray zone, gray area. It's very complicated right now to define what's ours in terms of data
Yeah,
and
interesting.
what's let's say nobody's. What I mean by it,
Public good type of
what
thing.
is public? Yeah, public. What is public? What is private? I mean, we're getting into
Yeah,
this legal terms that my voice is my voice, so nobody can clone it. Let's say without my permission,
yeah,
for instance,
interesting.
right? Or like the image and all, and then even the movements, because right now there is a campaign like to train robots. So in some countries, they like just I don't know, like delivery guys using cameras that are actually fixing all their movements. I mean,
Mm.
actually, like any workers, like I was
Yeah,
thinking about delivery guys, but like workers at factories having like cameras that are
yeah,
actually
yeah,
capturing all their movements. So
yeah.
then later on, robots are going to train on those videos. Um, which is like crazy. I don't remember whether it was you or it was somebody else as well, one of the roundtables, who shared that a robot has to um, like try the same movement, like repeat the same movement over
Mm.
1,000 times. Like it was
Mm.
like 1,100 times. Like it's an insane amount, but it's not like impossible. It will take a few years,
Yeah.
but it's there, right? So one thing when people actually get paid for this, another thing when they're just being observed by I don't know their apps,
Yeah,
their
yeah,
computers,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
By cameras in the street, and then just all this data is being used, say, to train robbers' movements or whatever it is. So it is quite tricky, and also I think still all the let's say all the AI models that are currently available, and people are interacting with them, asking them all possible questions. So all this data, it's kind of interesting. I'm trying to figure this out. On the one hand, they say that all this data is going to train the entire corpus of the model. But also, what I'm seeing that maybe it's not entirely fully true, or maybe it's not working really well. What I
Mm.
mean by it, I've noticed in different regions that some AI models are actually asking their users, I mean, we're talking about projects, right? Asking their users that to train the models on their prompts. So, which is also quite peculiar if you think about it, because it means that probably when you're just solely interacting with an AI bot is not enough as training. Or let's say this human reinforcement feedback is not really there, like because you just continue chatting, maybe you didn't like how it performed, but you don't complain. You just carry on and you just stop using this chatbot. But I think what's happening is that as so many people are now using chatbots, whether in Asia, whether it's in Latam, wherever, right? They're using different chatbots, and they're maybe this humongous amount of information doesn't do any good in terms of like
Hmm.
training the way how bots
Yep.
actually are supposed to interact. um, Therefore, maybe more is not always good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I kind of started feeling that maybe whatever, as you were saying, like that you gave away a lot to Claude now.
Yeah.
Maybe all the information that we've been given away for the past like what three,
Yeah.
5 years to AI models as users is actually just buried somewhere there in the chunk of billions and billions and billions of
Yeah.
conversations,
Yeah.
and pretty much didn't make any impact. And yeah, even if it's retained somewhere, like Facebook has been, yeah, retaining all those billions and billions and billions of posts, um, it's not, let's say, connected to you, because still, I mean, they are legally obliged. Again, we don't know how they comply or not, but they're legally obliged to kind of decouple your identity and all the conversations, and all like, or then break this conversation down in chunks, the chunks. So I think, we can stop the panic a little bit and just focus on actually what's happening and how AI models adapt now to collect data. What they're going to do from now on when they understand that all this amount of data that they already collected may be just garbage. I'm not saying like totally
Hmm.
garbage, but I'm saying that maybe it's not as useful as they hoped it would be.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It brings to mind the bitter lesson by Sutton, which set off the whole large language model thing. The bitter lesson is basically you just have to throw more compute at it, and it was right in 2020 to 2023 or 2024. It might no longer be right, and we there's so much hype, and I've been through various hype cycles before, and every time there's a hype cycle, when you're in the hype cycle, you can't prove that you're not in the hype cycle, but you can't also prove that you are in the hype cycle. So it's like it's a dark forest. We don't know if it's a hype or not, or we don't know if it's a bubble or not, and we just don't know. People can guess, and if nobody's putting money on those guesses or making bets publicly or accountably, then you can't really take them seriously, because it's like, what's the track record for people who have done various things, or said various things, and whether those things come out correct or not, because that's part of intelligence, is being predictive about, like whether you can predict what's happening. And a lot of people, including myself, are not very good at predicting things, but sometimes have a lot of confidence about predicting things. uh, okay, so we got about 5 minutes left. Man, we covered a lot of ground here. The man, what so what are your plans for the next couple months? What are you doing right now?
Well, summer's coming in the northern
Mhm.
hemisphere, so I think I will be mostly in the northern hemisphere, and then I'll go to the southern hemisphere. Pretty much, co-organizing more events, more roundtables, meeting with people, discussing technology, AI, and well, other domains. Continue working in education, seeing how else we can make an impact in bringing more as well indigenous wisdom to AI training,
Hmm.
because I think it's so important to
Hmm.
include all those spheres, because then maybe AI will become wise. You never know. Because actually, if you indeed bring, let's say, Buddhism traditions and their, well, indigenous people's traditions to AI corpus, I think it's going to be very interesting to see how it's going to interact with people, what kind of replies, yeah, it's going to produce.
Hmm. It's almost like we've lost most of it, but like what could happen if you could encode a living tradition inside of these things, and they could be sort of like agentic minds that can help to make things stronger. like anti-fragile from different points of view. Uh, like that, it reminds me of the Mayan Codex. The Mayan Codex, and we also like the knowledge management. Like there were written cultures in Mexico and in Central America. There were cultures that left writing, but so much of it was destroyed. But we actually have a lot of it as well. Not a lot of it, but we have enough that we have some really, really different takes on reality. And those takes on reality are really interesting to be adversarial. Not that they're right or they're wrong, but it's just like a really interesting territory. So I think the mixture between that and AI will be quite interesting. And where can do you write about this stuff? Where can our listeners find out more about you?
Definitely go and find me on LinkedIn. You have the episode name, Ekaterina Matveeva. So find me on LinkedIn, see what I'm racing about, which events I'm participating in organizing, connect with me. And yeah, I hope, I'll write more about it, in new books and articles that I'm currently working on. And then, let's meet at events around the world and online.